Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. I've been getting out of town a little bit this summer, and nothing makes you feel better than a good security system at your house. You like having that Safety System sign right there at the front door and the back door that tells people, don't even think about it. Plus, you got the cameras that you can check out your home via phone and everything else. Call VFL JJ Surlis about a security system for your home or office. You'll see their stickers and their signs. I was meeting somebody for lunch this week, walked by the door, and boom, Safety Systems. You see them all over town because these guys have been doing it all over town for 20 years. Safety Systems. All right, so Mark Emmert is talking about the NCAA loosening the reins a little bit. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 against the NCAA on the name, image, likeness stuff. Is it possible that this could be working in Tennessee's favor? Is it possible that all these things, and you threw this theory out there during COVID, that because the NCAA had a backlog, if you give up a slap on the wrist to yourself, they may be more likely than usual to say, yeah, okay, we accept that, get out. What's next? Because they're in such a rush. Now you throw this on top of that. The COVID backlog, the NCAA's president is saying, okay, we may need to lighten up here, Francis. And you've got the Supreme Court telling them your whole paradigm has to change. Is it possible that Tennessee could be facing NCAA penalties at the right time for once? Thoughts that this might help Tennessee's problems?
I think it could, because the situation with the enforcement staff, they're way down. I think there's a pretty good chance that the NCAA could accept Tennessee's self-investigation because Michael Glazier led it. I think there's a chance that Tennessee could then self-impose some type penalties, and the NCAA would say, you know what, we don't have time to fool with this. We'll accept, or we may say, you said a one-year ban, we're going to give you 2 years. But I do think there's a better chance that Tennessee could come out of here without as severe punishment because of what all's going on right now. Now, of course, I'm saying that it's Tennessee. They hadn't had a whole lot of luck with anything.
Right, and you never know what the NCAA is going to do, as we talked about in the last segment.
You don't. But I do think this opens the door for Tennessee not to be hit as hard as I thought they might have been.
In theory, I agree with that. Chuck?
Yeah, I would too, and I think you also look at who's been doing the investigation and who's been paying for that and who's going to turn over all this documentation, with what last report was, 500,000, 600,000. And then plus, when you present this, look at all the changes that you've made that are in place. Once we found this was going on, we took action, and we took action immediately. It's not like there's a wiretap at LSU basketball. It's not like there's what had gone on with North Carolina. I mean, I know NCAA's got a lot on its plate. You don't know what their timeline is. Go ahead, I would say, once you complete what you're doing, give them something, a low ball offer for what can be imposed, and move on.
Yeah, I think it on the surface it does look like it could potentially help you with all the circumstances. You just never know. We've talked about this before. It's the NCAA. Missouri thought they were going to get off easy by being very forward and self-imposing and hitting themselves beforehand, and they still got hit harder before that. I just don't think, with the NCAA having no precedent, I just don't think it's a guarantee. But it looks like it could help you.
Agreed. There's no guarantee. And always have to throw in the Tennessee factor. Right. How many things have we seen here that you don't see other places? I mean, it's just bad timing, and there's some sort of, the university is clearly built over an old Native American burial ground because it's haunted. But still, in theory, I think that your odds for avoiding serious long-term penalties seem to be getting better because of everything else the NCAA is going through. Yeah. Famous last words.
And I do think the quicker you can offer your self-imposed penalty, the better, because you're pointing this out, Vince, earlier about you don't want this to linger on for a couple of years. The sooner you get it to them, the better.
Yeah, and see, that's why I'm still very interested in why this thing's still going on from UT's perspective.
Me too.
I just wonder was that contract written so poorly, Jeremy Pruitt's, that it's not you should have known, so was it written in such a way that they have to have a smoking gun, and they are yet to find it? Just throwing it out there. All right, when we come back, Danny White has been busy handing out contracts. We'll discuss Tony Vitello, stadium stuff, all that next. Coming back on the Sports Source.